Today, we're going to be talking about guitar picks and what might just be the best overall pick for metal. Coming up. Welcome to the Guitar with Rod. I'm Rod, where we talk all things guitar, music, and you. And today we're going to be talking all about guitar picks. So first of all, I want to take a moment to first thank any and everyone that took time to watch my latest video, Haze and Plur, and everyone that took time to subscribe to the channel. Our subscriber base has increased tremendously, and I want to start getting out more content. So we got a little bit of a different format here. So I'm hoping that this will help to facilitate me and help me to get more content out to you. So thank you guys, first of all, for that. And thank you for being here. When I started to really record myself more, started creating more tracks, I wanted to experiment with different types of picks. So this is just like a pick guard, or not a pick guard, but a pickup holder. And then I just ended up putting a bunch of different variety of picks in them. And then as I started to record, I started noticing that, hey, this pick, which is a Fender Heavy, a pick that I had written off many years ago, just because I don't use these types of picks primarily. They seem like they're almost like beginner picks. They have this high gloss, almost kind of like plastic. It almost seems like it could be kind of slippery. But what I noticed is this pick is actually really good for like jazz, blues, clean tones. I really like this for hybrid picking as well, because it almost has like a chime type quality to it. So I think that's really cool. The picks that I was generally gravitating towards is these Dunlop picks. So this is the pick I kind of use live. This is a Dunlop Tortex pick. And the different with the flow pick is that it has that sharper kind of edge right there. So I really love this pick right here. And as I kind of started to experiment with picks, you really do get different kind of tonalities out of them. Let me see if I can give you a very quick example. Let's take a look at this flow pick, the one I normally use live. And I'm just going to play a clean little, almost like a slow chord and just a little bit of jazz or blues on top of it. I'm going to play that same lick now with this Fender Heavy pick when we just showed there. You may not be able to hear the little differences on this video, and especially because it's kind of like in this live environment, but when you isolate a guitar in a track and then you start to hear the little differences that these picks make, it does make a difference. As I was kind of, experimenting with different picks, I ended up coming across a video that Dave Otero did. And Dave Otero is well known throughout the extreme metal world. He's recorded bands like Elysian. He's recorded bands like Cattle Decapitation, which we'll be talking a little bit more about further here. And an older band that I used to really love, Symphonic Carnage. So Dave did a video for kind of like the guitar recording process for a band called Cattle Decapitation. He actually gives his #1 recommendation for the pick that he prefers pretty much all of his guitar players to use. And I started using that pick, and I think it might be the best overall pick that you might be able to use for metal. So before we get to that pick, I want to talk a little bit about just his thought process when it comes to recording guitars. And I'll link put a link of the description of that video in the description. But one of the things he talks about is kind of his quality control. And so when you're recording, especially these high gain guitars, at the bare minimum, you should really be using like a string dampener. What you're trying to do with any of this stuff is you're trying to reduce noise. You're trying to reduce unwanted vibrations, because all of these strings are relatively close. And if you're chucking along you might not notice. So when I'm playing live, or I've seen a lot of guys do this, but when they're playing live, sometimes they're palm mute. There's guys who um, can have their whole finger kind of going across, or I should say guitar players kind of have their finger going across. You have guys who palm mute differently. And as you're chugging along, depending on where your hand position is, you could be hitting other strings, you could be causing unwanted vibrations. So when you start recording, one of the things that Dave talks about is he does everything he can to kind of reduce some of those unkind of wanted noises. There's all kinds of things that we should be doing as home recording artists to have that level of quality control. And the pick that he recommends, I think really helps to do that. So let's go through some picks now. So we kind of did the example with the Fender. I really like this particular pick for cleans and hybrid picking. I don't always use this one. It's actually not even my go-to for cleans, but I wouldn't actually sleep on these Fender picks. One of the other big picks that you might see are these nylon type picks. I'm actually not a fan of these picks. They just feel weird. I don't really like them, but this pick actually doesn't sound too bad when it comes to like rhythms. And I'll do some distortion kind of examples with some of these. One of the picks that I was super uber excited to try was this Dava pick. Now in that video, let me see if I can get it to focus. In that video, the Dava pick are the picks that Cattle Decapitation uses. So I was thinking, dude, this is awesome because this is the pick really that the guys from over at Cattle Decapitation were using. So when I bought this pick, I was super excited with it. But I'll be honest, I ended up not liking this pick at all. I think it's something I have to maybe get used to. It's kind of weird, first of all, because you have this little lip on there. And I remember when I first got this pick, I kept thinking I had to hold it a certain type of way. But ultimately, what you really need to do is hold it like a regular pick. And then the way I kind of hold picks is I don't have a whole lot there. I mean, it's very little, but you don't see any issues with that added little lip. If you were holding your pick more like an amateur, you might have some trouble with this pick. And the tip of this is kind of similar, ironically, to this glossy, I should say, Fender. It's not as glossy, but for some reason, I'll be honest, it just ended up not being a fan of this pick. I was kind of disappointed in that because I was thinking, oh, cool, I got this cool new Dava pick. And even though this is not the pick that Dave Otero ultimately recommended, he ended up liking this pick. So he was prepared to tell any of his guitarists that come through that, hey, use this particular pick that I'm about to show you. But for the record, he ended up liking the sound of the Dava pick. But I just want to kind of throw that one out there because that is the one that Cattle Decapitation was using on their latest album, or at least on a lot of their rhythm parts, I believe. So finally, we're going to get to it. Drum roll, please. Before we get to this pick, I do ask that if you like this type of content, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Make sure you give a thumbs up, share the video. It always helps smaller channels like me to reach a larger audience. Now, without further ado, let me give you the pick. Let me share the pick with you that Dave Otero recommends to his guitarists when they come in. And I'm going to tell you why I think this is a really arguably the best overall pick that you'd be using when doing metal recordings. It's going to surprise you. It is a standard 88 millimeter Dunlop pick. There's no flow. This is just a standard pick. I do have a flow type 88 millimeter, which I don't like as much as the standard. So let me explain kind of why, I think he likes this particular pick. And I'm going to explain why I like this particular pick. One of the reasons is it's just really well balanced. Even after chugging with this thing for a little bit, it's not bending too much. There's not a lot of flex there, right? So there's a little flex there, but it's not a whole lot. The texture of this pick, the texture of these Tortexes, it's almost kind of designed to reduce noise. It gives you a really nice, balanced kind of pick approach, and this is one of the things that Dave Otero was talking about when we're talking about that quality control, and that's to kind of pay attention to the way you are striking the strings. What's going to go back, and what I have up, all these tones are going to be coming from the Line 6 HX Stomp. I have HX edit up here just to kind of move around. Let's give you guys a couple of examples. I'm going to be using this flow pick for this first example. Sounds pretty good, but when I'm hearing it's got a little bit of a snap to it that I don't like. I can emphasize it a little bit more with this Fender Thin. You kind of hear that. And so that could be, maybe that's something that you would like to incorporate, but it's kind of unwanted. When you go over here to that 88, it's just really well balanced. So hopefully that helps some of you out there, especially when it comes to the quality control. Definitely when it comes to, trying a different variety of picks. Oh, and the other one I like, because I've been liking these Fenders for my cleans, right? But I actually ended up liking this even a little bit better. And it's a Flex 88 by Tort. It's a Tortex Flex pick. This doesn't quite have the texture that this normal Tortex does, but this particular pick is not as glossy as these Fender picks. So it's a really nice kind of hybrid, and I really like the way this particular pick sounds. So that is it for this episode of The Guitar with Rod. We promise to be coming back with more content like this. Our latest track, Critical Ambition, is going to be coming up at the end of July, so definitely check that out. That's going to be featuring the MC Marca and a vocalist, Normally. So definitely check that out. She's dropping on July 26th on a Friday. And really, thank you guys. Once again, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and I hope to see you next time. Keep rocking, keep shredding. We'll see you next time. Peace.